Hello, I'm Dr. Brandt Gibson, and today I want to talk to you about the dysfunction or the malfunction of the nerve mitochondria. Now, before I go into greater depth in what's going on in peripheral neuropathy, you need to understand that with normal aging of a cell, then the mitochondria will start to malfunction and fail. And so this peripheral neuropathy situation, as is confirmed, for example, in diabetes or some of these other causes of peripheral neuropathy, is a speeding up of the aging process of those nerve cells. And so you get that dysfunction of the mitochondria. So let me give you a little bit of background again on what the mitochondria does. Mitochondria is often called the powerhouse of the cells, and it acts like a miniature factory or a miniature food metabolizer. It basically takes the food and it breaks it down and it turns it into a chemical energy called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. And ATP is the power mechanism that is used by all cells, by most cellular processes. It causes muscle contraction, it causes nerve impulse propagation, it causes protein synthesis, and it is used in most cells that we find in the multicellular individuals, for example. And so the interesting thing is that it functions almost like it's its own cell within a cell, to the point that some scientists actually feel that it was a symbiotic relationship between a cell and the mitochondria, because the mitochondria even has its own DNA, inside. So what happens when a mitochondria starts to malfunction? When the mitochondria starts to malfunction, it fails, of course, to create the ATP, creates the energy, but it also releases reactive oxygen species. So the reactive oxygen species are the chemicals that are commonly indicated as injuring the cells, injuring the nerves, injuring the myelin sheaths, and so forth. So what's happening in these nerve cells is you're releasing these reactive oxygen substances, and they're causing further damage. They're causing increased inflammation. Can cause muscle weakness in the areas of the muscles. It can cause DNA damage to the nerve cells, so the nerve cells are unable to create the appropriate proteins. And it can even cause breakdowns of some of these proteins and harm some of these proteins in the process of this dysfunction. So as that mitochondria starts to fail, the cell itself starts to fail. It causes damage in what's being released. It can actually cause damage to the tissues around it, including, like we said, muscle weakness and so forth. And so you're getting a lot of those symptoms of peripheral neuropathy. That is why a lot of times we consider the mitochondria as one of the major causes of many types of peripheral neuropathy. So what does that tell you about treatment? The problem is, number one, the mitochondrial dysfunction. So if you can give the body the appropriate nutrients, the appropriate products that are necessary to allow it to heal the mitochondria, then it will improve. If you can improve your health status to slow down the aging process and improve the aging process through exercise, through appropriate eating, through the appropriate amount of fluids, you're again moving yourself backwards in that aging process and causing the mitochondria to not malfunction as quickly. Likewise, you can also cause the body to heal it. There are studies now showing that through appropriate vitamin substances like vitamin B1, benfotiamine, for example, you can actually repair mitochondria, and you can cause the mitochondria to start to function like they used to function. So you're actually moving them backwards in the aging process and causing them to function more like their newer mitochondria. And so you lose the reactive oxygen substances and you gain again the ATP that is necessary. So that being said, you can look at this and say most of the treatments that actually are beneficial and work well for peripheral neuropathy directly work on the mitochondria and cause them to function like they're supposed to, and cause healing, cause improvement, and ultimately will cause the nerve cells to function appropriately because they have the energy they need. This is Dr. Brandt Gibson, and this is your Neuropathy Nugget, day 129, the Nerve